Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is BobLyn, aka PabLoon, and today we're back with a new ship review. This is of the Black Haarlem, and well, we all know what the Haarlem is. It's the tier 8 of the Dutch cruiser line, and it is where the line really comes into fruition. But is this ship any different than the original? Not much, and I guess you can see from the title that this is a ship I am not too impressed by, but nonetheless, we are gonna show you guys the differences and what this thing brings to the table. So the Haarlem, or the Black Haarlem, gets 3 uses of precise aiming 2. And the Houten Leeuw, the tier 10, actually doesn't even get precise aiming 2. It gets precise aiming 1. And you also get 2 uses of sonar. You get the Elite Gun Operator mod like you do on the normal Haarlem, and then I've taken this equipment, and this is the commander I used. The reason I'm kind of skipping over this is because it's very standard build. And, you know, there's not much to be talked about. It's pretty much just a Haarlem. Here are the stats to compare. There are some differences, some subtle differences, especially with the bombers. The first one is you have 500 more HP. Very tiny difference, but it does help. You actually have a half a second faster reload on the guns, and your airstrike bomber HP is much higher, your bomb damage is higher, and your range is higher, but you have an 8-second longer reload. This is like the only thing that I would say is really good about the Haarlem, the Black Haarlem. And you get precise aiming too. But it's not really that impressive, if you ask me. When I played this ship, I couldn't really see the point of getting the Black Haarlem. It's pretty much just a Haarlem with a Houten Leeuw, kit on it. You get precise aiming, and that's about it. It would have been really interesting to see if they gave it, rapid reload or something, make it more interesting, make it more unique. Because this thing right here is pretty much just a Haarlem with a black camo on it and some other skills. Granted, yes, it is better overall. Objectively, it's a better ship. So if you really like playing the Haarlem, and I know some people do, then this is probably a ship that you would, be interested in. And I won't sit here and say it's a bad ship, because it's not. But it's just not a ship you should dish out a lot of money for if you want to get the same experience. You can do it for free just by playing the tech tree to tier 8. So now that we have that out of the way, and the people who want to know something about this ship, well, it is pretty decent, and I really enjoyed the Haarlem, actually. I thought it was the most fun out of the whole grind in the Dutch cruiser tech tree. And it's welcome to see a precise aiming 2 on it. Now, like I said, I would love to see rapid reload instead, because that would bring, a different play style to the ship. You could play it more aggressively. You could maybe actually fight some DDs. But instead, you get precise aiming 2, and it definitely is nice because you can get some pretty accurate salvos in on pretty much anything. And you see the dispersion we got in the first salvos was pretty good. It was just my aim that was kind of off. Now, we are going to have 2 BBs pushing us here. We're going to have this Iowa and this Bismarck, and that's the only reason I got high damage this game. All of my other games were pretty mediocre, and I actually was planning on just doing like a montage, so to say, of just the clips that I got and do a commentary over it. But I ended up getting a pretty good game here. So that's the one you're seeing. And we see the airstrikes, they're going in, and I didn't really hit that well. We only got 2 bomb hits, but like I said, it does have a faster reload, a longer reload, but it has more HP, and they do more damage. And you also have more range. You have 9 kilometers of bombing range, I guess, flat out, whereas the Haarlem has 8 point something. So overall, it's a much better Haarlem statistically, but it's just not that much better. And Haarlem in general is just not the most, at least for tier 8, it's not a it's not an overplayed ship. Let's just call it that. Not a very popular ship, but if you are a lover of the Haarlem, I think you would love this, honestly. I think most of the CCs just kind of agree on the fact that this thing is not really bringing anything new. If you take a look at something like the Black Admiral Hipper, for example, you get all the skills that the Admiral Hipper gets, but you also get a radar, which is kind of nice. And there's also a lot of other cool black ships like the Black Chapayev or the Black Skåne that, they bring a different playstyle. Then that's kind of what the black ship should be. The Black Bismarck, you get a rapid reload instead. The Black FDG, the list goes on and on and on. Whereas this is pretty much just a carbon copy with better stats in some aspects and a precise aim. But you see the bombs here in action. We took out that Iowa, which was pretty easy, to be honest. He sailed full broadside and kind of just let me did it. And now I'm trying to get a fire on this Bismarck because we saw he damage controlled, and he's perma-flooded now with a perma-fire as well. And that's something you should be aware of when you're playing this ship, is if you see a battleship damage controlled, don't be afraid to use your HE as well, in conjunction with your bombs. It's really powerful to get fires on battleships because it's percentage-based damage. I think a lot of you know that. And with the BB, well, they have a lot of HP, so each percent that it ticks is a lot of damage for you. So we keep bombing this guy, swapping back to the AP here for the final run, and we're going to turn back in, and we finish him off with the bomb. So you can see the increased damage and range, it definitely helps, and it just makes the overall Haarlem experience a lot easier compared to the normal Haarlem. But this is about where the gameplay becomes a little bit boring, because now we just have to sail forward and nothing more really happens. And that's kind of like the whole gist of this ship. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say a ship is worth the money if it's not. This is not worth the money if you ask me. Sure, it's a fun ship and you get some different skills, but at the end of the day, it's just the same as the tier 8, you know, tech tree version. But let's see what it can do against an Indomitable. So we're gonna barrel down towards this CV and see what we can do to this guy. He's not gonna have fun because he's gonna be facing a Kansas who, well, his name is Meatloaf. I can't really not see that. That's a good name, and I think Meatloaf has something to say to CVs over here. So we're gonna help our teammate Meatloaf. His name is actually Mom the Meatloaf. That's an interesting name. Let's just not talk about that guy anymore. So we have this Kagero and the Shimanto pushing up towards us. So we're gonna be using our sonar for sure and getting some of those dodging skills fine-tuned, because there's gonna be a ton of torpedoes in the water. We can expect that. So we're gonna use our bow, just bow in these two guys, and try to be turning as much as possible to avoid any incoming torpedoes. The CV goes down, thank God, it's an Indomitable, nobody likes that. And now we just have these two guys out here to deal with. And I feel pretty confident, since the Haarlem is, you know, it's a heavy cruiser with pretty big guns, that we can definitely fight this Shimanto. So we're trying to get these bombs off, and we know he's sending torpedoes because he's broadside. Those were his first set, so now we know there's going to be another set. And that's why I'm always turning in, always trying to dodge and anticipate where his next set of torpedoes is going to be. That's kind of the mindset you need to have when you're facing Japanese cruisers, is if they're showing broadside to you, they have fired their torpedoes. It's a very good, you know, rule of thumb, that you just turn in if you see them broadside. And luckily these ships are not very tanky, the Japanese light cruisers, so you can pretty easily deal with them. And there we see the torpedoes. Like I said, just turn in and stop. Now the Kagero also got torpedoes off, and he did a widespread, and there's not much I can do to like turn in here, so we just have to eat 2 torpedoes, which is fine. We don't have a heal anymore, but we luckily didn't get flooded, and we are still in this fight for sure. We get the Shimanto, and the game is pretty much over here. So 102,000 damage in the Black Haarlem, and well, I've already said this, you got the gist of it. Not a ship I recommend in the slightest. Not that it's bad, just that it's a waste of money. That's the takeaway from this. And I think the other CCs would agree with me that why would you get this? It brings nothing new to the table. It's just a better Haarlem. It's not a different experience, which, in my opinion, that's not how I interpreted the black ship concept to be. I interpreted it as a way to have a tech tree ship turn into a, well, another whole entire ship and play a new role, I guess you could say. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you are going to get the Black Haarlem, I hope you got some information that was useful. My name has been BobLyn, aka PabLoon, and I am signing out.